Well, hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome. I hope that everyone's doing well. I know that folks are coming on in, so thank you for being with us tonight. I hope that you are excited and you came prepared to get some really good information. We have a lot in store for you this evening for today's first and what will be a training series on campaign fundraising. I'm very excited to be with everyone today virtually. For those of you who don't know, I am Daquan Marcell Love. I am campaign finance and fundraising coach, guru, expertise. I'm really excited to start this YouTube and Facebook Live series talking about campaign fundraising. So, a little bit about myself. I am a political fundraiser. That's the best way to put it. I have worked on local, state, and even federal races, having raised a little over $16 million for over 150 Democratic and progressive leaning causes and campaigns over the last 5 to 6 years. I've also been a candidate for public office, and so I know what it's like to be a rural first time and a minority candidate. And that's why here at the Reflex Strategy Group, we specialize in working with those candidates. Tonight's topic is really exciting: how to raise money for your campaign. And so, in tonight's training, we're going to really delve into what you need to do to raise money for your campaign. And having raised lots of money for Democratic and progressive campaigns, a lot of folks ask me all the time, Daquan, what's the magic secret? Daquan, what's the magic sauce? How do you raise the money? Well, if that's the question you are hoping to answer, you are definitely in the right place. The first thing that you've got to do before you even decide to raise money for your campaign is you've got to decide what kind of campaign you're going to have. Because there are two types of campaigns, in my opinion. You have the campaigns that are structured, the campaigns that are focused, the campaigns that are data driven and targeted and use industry standard best practices. And then you have the campaigns that aren't put together, they aren't structured. They do not appeal to the masses, and moreover, they don't have money. Why? Because they're not doing what's right. In my experience working with especially first time minority and rural candidates, the biggest sticker shock that my clients have is when they realize that running for office is not about the glitz, the glamour, and what it appears to be like on TV. It's very different. And so in real life, the main priority a candidate has, especially in the first few months of their candidacy, is to raise money. Because if you don't have money, you can't do paid communications. You can't send out mail. You can't do TV or digital, depending on the size and scope of your race. And so, because of that, a lot of candidates tend to struggle. A lot of candidates tend to not do what's right, partly because they don't know, partly because they're not focused. So before you start raising money, before you decide figuring out what you're going to do, you've got to decide, are you going to have a campaign that is focused, targeted, strategic, data metric driven? Or are you going to have a campaign that's going to make you feel good? You're going to put a few yard signs out. You're going to go to the community picnics and you're going to call it a day. And that's the reality of the political climate in today's time frame. That's the reality of where we are. You can run for office and think that you're going to spend most of your time shaking hands and kissing babies. The reality is the most successful campaigns, the absolute most successful campaigns, are their campaigns that are focused, and that candidate is focused on call time. They're focused on raising money. They're focused on hosting fundraising events so that they can pay for the things that they need for their raise. So you've got a decision to make, it seems like. The second thing you've got to do is you've got to hone your ask. Before someone gives to your campaign, you should be able to clearly articulate why they need to give to you. Why do you need a gift of $250? Why do you need a gift of $1,000? Why is their contribution important? And if you cannot clearly and succinctly articulate a response to that very simple question, then your fundraising capacity is going to be extremely limited. Friend, you've got to make sure that your ask is on point and solid. And that's some of what I do in working with the clients I have at the Reflex Strategy Group, is just that. I will also say, in terms of your ask, you've got to make sure that you are asking the right amount from the right people. One of the biggest mistakes I see candidates make all the time is when they think that there's a magic list of donors, they're just going to call Democratic donors, and those Democratic donors are going to give to them. My friend, that's not how this works. Because if the people that are closest to you, your friends and your family, aren't donating to you, then why should they? You've got to make sure that the first people that you're reaching out to and asking for contributions to your campaign are your friends and your family. You should be able to easily raise several $1,000s just from this group of people alone. I have seen it time and time again when candidates skip this important step. When they skip that step and they decide, oh, I'm just going to go out and cold call donors from some list that I got from somewhere, that is when their fundraising program does not take off. Why is that? Because you've got to start with the firm foundation. If I'm a cold called donor and you're calling me, and even though I may have given thousands of dollars to other candidates, and I ask you how much you've raised to date, and you say, "Oh, I've only raised a few $100s. I haven't raised anything." Why should I want to invest in your race? Especially if you can't even get your own friends and family and the folks nearest to you, the people who know you personally, to give. And so as you kind of think about it, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? So you want to make sure that you are also making that ask and honing that ask and calling your friends. The third thing you've got to do after you've decided the type of campaign you're going to run, after you've figured out your ask, you've honed it, you've put it together, you're asking your friends and your family members. The third thing you got to do is you've got to get on the phone and call your friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that it is 2022, but money is not coming all the time just from you sending a text message. Money's not coming all the time from you sending an email. You're going to have to get on the phone and call these folks, call your friends, have the conversations with them, and ask them to support your campaign, to contribute to your campaign, and to invest in your campaign strategy. Another big mistake I see candidates make, sadly, all the time is when they are, oh, I'll just send the same text and I'll copy and paste it, and I'll send it to all of the people in my phone. Yeah, and no one responds. I wonder why. The reason they're not responding is because it's impersonal, it is not relatable. And I'll tell you this is where some of these bad habits can actually come back and hurt you down the road, even when you bring on a professional fundraiser like myself to your campaign. If you've already texted these people and you've told them that you're running for office and asked them to donate via a text message link, when you call them a week or two or three later, guess what? They're going to ignore your call because they know why you're calling. Would you pick up the phone if you knew the person on the other end was going to ask you for money? Exactly. That's why you've got to make sure you call your friends first. I know folks don't like to do that, especially younger folks don't like to get on the phone and call, but you've got to do it. You've got to get on that phone. And really, I encourage folks to to take this strategy. Get into a windowless basement, find a windowless basement, and you dial and you dial and you dial. That, my friends, is exactly how you raise the money for your campaign. Raising money for your campaign is not easy, but it doesn't have to be difficult either. It's a very simple and clear cut strategy. Three things you can do right now to raise money for your campaign. Figure out what kind of campaign you're going to have. Is it worth your time, energy, and effort actually raising the money? Because if you are just sitting here saying, okay, I'll just raise a few $100s, I'll just buy some yard signs, I'll do this, and that's it. Okay, well, maybe this is not the right video for you. It's time to click off. But if you do decide that you want to run a formidable campaign, you're going to raise thousands of dollars, you're going to get your message out there, be able to have money so that you can pay for the things that are going to help your campaign in the long run so that you ultimately can win, then that's the type of mindset you've got to have from the very beginning. After you do that, you've got to figure out your ask. And you've got to have a firm, solid ask. When you ask folks for money, you can't just say, "Oh, well, will you what can you do for me? How can you help us out at the campaign?" You can't do that. You've got to ask them, "Will you come on board and support my campaign with a contribution of $1,000 today?" hmm You've got to have a solid ask. If you don't have a solid ask, I tell you, folks will wiggle themselves right out of that phone call and won't give you a dime. And then they'll block your number so you can't call them again and make another ask. I know it's true because I've done it to candidates myself, unfortunately. So you've got to have a strong ask. Finally, work your friends. You've got to call your friends, call your high school classmates, call the person you sat next to in kindergarten. I don't care. Call everybody in your phone. And then after you do that, that's when you go to your spouse and look at their list, look at their Rolodex of contacts and networks of folks that they have and that they know. Ladies and gentlemen, you can raise money for your campaign. It doesn't have to be difficult, but it won't be easy either. And if you're interested in learning more about how you can get a strategy to raise money for your campaign, as you know, I've raised a little over $16 million for over 150 candidates over the last 5 years. I'd be happy to hop on a call and talk about your fundraising strategy. Book a discovery call right now at reflexstrategy.com/discovery call. You can do that right now. You can get the information that you need so that your campaign can be successful. I'm ready to help you. I want to help you. I've helped several other folks, a lot of folks right now. This is a time in the season where they're looking for folks to help them with their campaign. If you're interested in running for office, even if you haven't declared, let's have a conversation. You can go ahead and book your discovery call right now. That's all I have for this evening, but I wanted to come on and let you know that you can raise money. Raising money doesn't have to be easy. Follow those 3 easy steps. Stay tuned. Go ahead, book a discovery call, and we'll be happy to walk through fundraising strategy with you. I can't wait to talk to you soon. Take care, and we'll be in touch. Bye-bye.